And we're live. Welcome to the Deal Doctor live stream. It's Monday, it's 1 o'clock, and here we are. Somebody asked me, I don't remember who it was actually, asked me about doing a thing on pricing, doing a presentation on pricing. Pricing. I have like flashcards today. I feel so. We've upgraded. We've gone uptown. Okay. And what I want to start out by saying is that pricing is not an exact science. Pricing is there to not to determine a perfect number. I think sometimes agents get caught up in the idea that there's a perfect price, an exact price for a particular home. They take all of the information, all of the comparables, the square footage, and so on and so forth, and they micro-examine it to the point that they think they have the perfect price for any property. And there's a danger in that because there is no perfect comparable. In fact, I say comparables are not comparable. No two houses are alike unless they were specifically built from the beginning to be alike. No two houses are alike. So when you start comparing existing homes, their condition is going to be different, their decor is going to be different, their landscaping or location, the amenities that they may have. One may have granite countertops, another one may have Corian countertops, for example. There are going to be slight differences. And so I'm not looking for a perfect price. I'm looking for a range of price or a price bracket. For example, let's say 200 to 225. Well, if you do the math, that's a 10% swing. That's a fairly large range. And I get that. If you say to someone, well, your house could sell anywhere from 200 to 225, they're probably going to look at you and go, is that the best you can do? Really? Is that the best you got? It may be if you don't have sufficient information. But what's more important is that you're going to fine-tune their price based on their motivations. How quickly do you want to sell? Now, I know a lot of agents will say to you, well, what does that matter? We should be getting the highest price possible for them. Okay, is that in the best interest of your client, or is it in the best interest of your client to get the house sold as quickly as they want it to be sold? That really is a decision that's up to them. So I use what I call a wholesale retail price chart. Hold on. I'll be right back. I even brought a red marker. Pretty classy, huh? Dom's over here going, are you nuts? Anyway, so let's say that the wholesale price, the price that somebody would pay for it at the bottom possible price is, let's say, $185. Okay? And the retail price, the price that would happen if there was a bunch of competition, is $225. Well, that's a pretty big swing. Now the question is, how long do you want a house on the market? In today's market, most people are selling their homes in 30 days or less. In fact, a lot of them in 10 days or less. But let's say that your seller doesn't need the money for 90 days and they want to try it a little bit higher for a longer period of time. Well, that's going to help you determine what your price should be. If they're willing to hang out for the highest price they could possibly get, maybe their price is going to be $225, their listing price. But let's say, you know what, we need to move to Oklahoma and we need to be there by next month or 2 months from now. Wow, that's kind of a hurry. You got to get that home sold. So maybe what you could do is you come in at a $200,000 list price and say, you know, you might, if you were to stay on the market longer, you might get closer to the 225. But if you really want to move the house along and be in Oklahoma by the end of August, maybe what we need to do is price that home aggressively, because that's what's in your best interest, to be in Oklahoma in 2 months, isn't it? So think about their motivation before you set a list price. CMAs. I do weird CMAs by a lot of standards. I take everything there is, anything close, and then I might have 10 or 15 similar properties. I don't even call them comparables because I don't see them as comparables. But what I do is I start to circle all the important areas, the things that I think are important, which is, what's the age of the home? What's the school district? What is the above grade square footage? Right now I don't care about what's finished off in the basement. I could care less. I want to know how many bedrooms and baths there are. So I go through and I circle everything that's similar on these 10 or 15 listings. And then I start throwing out the ones that aren't similar. I get it down to maybe 5 or 7, and then I take another hard look at everything in those, and then that's when I start to take a look at the finished basement square footage, especially if it's a walkout or even a daylight. Full basement, not quite so much, but I'm going to take a really hard look at those finalists. I'll call the 5 to 10 finalists. Once I narrow that down, I might use 3 to 5 to establish a price range. Again, I'm not looking for a perfect price. I'm looking for a bracket to put it in. Somewhere with a $10,000 or $25,000 segment in the market to put that listing in, and it's going to be in part based on what their motivation is, again. Now, in addition to that, I have this little thing on my phone. Sorry, I left it over here. Phone. There's this little app for the Realtor Property Resource, RPR, Realtor Property Resource. And if you go into the Realtor Property Resource, like I just tried to do, it will give you a whole bunch of information about all of the properties that have been sold in that area where you're establishing a value for a particular property. It's a really valuable tool. It helps you be the expert in the neighborhood, even in neighborhoods that you don't have a clue about. RPR is great. It's got great statistics. If you don't have it on your phone or you don't have access to it on your laptop, find it. You can access it, and it gives you really good information. I think you can get it on Flex, if I'm not mistaken. It'll help you show the sales trends. You know, what's been selling, what type of homes, what range of homes have been selling the most in that particular area. And it'll show you days on market, prices, how many of them expired. Be the neighborhood expert. This is really kind of important. So I'm going to circle it. Keep your ego out of the pricing. Our clients look to us to be the experts, but sometimes we get so caught up in thinking that our price is right that we don't want to admit that maybe we're wrong. And so if you're not getting showings, if you're not getting offers on the table, change the price. It's not the right price in this market. If you're not getting offers, and especially if you're not getting showings, your price is wrong. There's no two ways about it. Know the market. You know one of the best ways to know the market? Get a buyer out and shop as many houses as you can. Get into as many houses as you possibly can so that you know what's out there selling and at what prices. And then, if you're wrong about the price ranges, if you've learned something from that experience, say it. Let your seller know. You know, I've been thinking about this price thing. In fact, I went out and I looked at a bunch of houses, and I got to come back to you and tell you that based on my findings, based on my new research, I think we're overpriced. I think we'd get a lot more showings, a lot more activity, and we'd generate an offer if we went to this price. Don't let your pride get in the way of what's in your client's best interests. No matter what price you establish, market the daylights out of it. Whatever your marketing plan is, and I hope you have a specific marketing plan, because if you don't, if your idea of putting it on, of the marketing plan is to put it on the multiple listing, light a candle and say a prayer that it's going to sell, that's not a marketing plan. Figure out what you're going to do. What are you offering your client to get paid a big amount of money? What are you going to do? You're going to post it on Facebook, boost that post so that tens of thousands of people see it. It costs you like $50. You're going to do flyers, mailers, postcards, walk the neighborhood. Are you going to do open houses? You have a responsibility, I think, to tell your clients, the sellers, what you're going to do to earn the commission that they're agreeing to pay you to sell their house. And once more, prep them for a reduction. Prepare them and say, if we don't have an offer in 10 days, if we don't have 5 showings a week, then we're at the wrong price. I'll tell you that right now. These are things that we know from our history, from looking at our experience, our stats. We know that if we're not getting 5 showings a week, if we don't have an offer on the table within 10 days in this particular market, then we are at the wrong price. Is there any question about that? And usually they'll go, really? Maybe we should try 30. We could, but when in this market, when we get to 30 or 40 or 60 days, your house looks shop worn. It looks like it's a dog on the market. So how about we do this? How about we give it 10 days on the market, and if we don't have offers or at least 5 showings a week, then we change the price to something else and have an idea of what that is. In fact, very often I'll get a pre-authorized price reduction right there at the listing appointment. Oh, so when 10 days comes up, you know what I hear? I hear agents go, but I was really sure about my price. I mean, it comps. I mean, there's other houses. I mean, there's one right down the street. Believe me, I hear this every day, every week. And I can tell you, as hard as it is for me to tell you in the moment and now, your comps are wrong. Again, if you don't have 5 showings a week going on and an offer within 10 days in this market, your price is probably wrong. So face it and follow through with your clients when you promised. In 10 days, call them and say, I told you I was going to follow up in 10 days about reducing the price because we've only had one showing and they didn't give us such great response in terms of of feedback. So I think we need to make an adjustment. And I would adjust based on this. Now, one more thing about pricing. If you've been to Ninja, and I encourage you, by the way, to sign up for Ninja. It's a great program. One of the things that you'll learn on Ninja is what's called pricing on the bridge. Let's scribble this out here. And there's the old gas station pricing, okay? $3.99.9, right? That's what I call gas station. It's not really $400, really. Okay. And then there's the let's say 401, which makes absolutely no sense at all. I'm not writing upside down real well. But then there's, right on top of the bridge, there's this number called 400. It's a nice round number, an even number. And I say price it on the bridge. No matter where you price it on the bridge. And the reason is this. If you price a property at $400,000, people who go on the internet will type in 400 to 450, or they'll type in 350 to 400. In both cases, your property is going to show up. If you have it at $399, only the people from 350 to 400 will see it. So don't miss the rest of the market. Same thing if you're at 375. Don't put it at 374.9. Put it at 375. That's how people search on the internet today. That's one way that the internet has changed our shopping experience on as it regards real estate. So, a couple of tips there. Somebody yesterday asked on Facebook Connect, how do you work expireds? Some of you who know me know that I built my career on working expireds a very, very long time ago. But when I came into this business, I realized that I had to get activity, I had to get business as quickly as possible. And the best place to prospect for business was expired listings. They'd already made their decision to choose a realtor, so I didn't have to fight the FSBO argument. And they'd been on the market, so maybe there was a way I could do a better job for them and get them to be able to move ahead with their plans, whatever their plans were. So I chose to learn the most I possibly could about working expireds, and I'm going to share that with you today. Melinda Robinson said in response yesterday, listen. That's the best single advice anyone can give you about working expireds. Because here's what it is. This is an expired client. This is a client whose listing expired. They're full of air, generally hot air, but they're full of air. And they're very, very, very upset. Now, they might be upset with their former realtor. They might be upset with the market that nobody brought a buyer. They might be upset with themselves that they made a wrong decision, either in hiring the real estate agent that they did or the choices that they made in getting the house ready for the market or pricing it and so on. But whatever it is, they're mad. They're upset. And you get to be the one that they vent on. Or vent to, I should say. So listening to them, really, really listening to them, without providing any solutions at this time, but really listen to what they're saying, because it's going to give you a lot of information. And so the next thing is we want to get them to this point where that balloon has completely deflated. They've punched themselves out. You've been the punching bag. You've not taken what they've said personally, but you've taken it seriously. But now you can now open up a conversation. And there are 5 questions that I call magic questions 5 magic questions for working expired listings. Number 1, do you still want to sell? Nah. I mean, that's kind of important. Do you still want to sell? And they can dance around and move around and take you in all sorts of trails. But ultimately, the question you first need to get answered is, do you still want to sell? Because if their answer is no, then you're wasting your time. The second question is, when you put your home on the market, what did you hope to do? And they're going, well, sell, of course. No, what was it? Were you going to go smaller, larger, move out of town, move up north? What did you hope to do? Again, that's going to give you a lot of information about their motivation. Third question is, do you have any idea why your home didn't sell? When you put it on the market, through the experience of marketing and so on, do you have any idea why it didn't sell? Now notice that I'm not blaming it on them. This question is not framed to blame it on them or to blame the other agent. Never, ever, ever blame or deride the other agent, because you end up looking worse than the other agent does every time. So, do you have any idea why your house didn't sell? That's the question you ask them. And then they're going to say, well, my agent didn't advertise it right, or my agent didn't advertise it enough, or they're going to have 1,000 reasons. One of them actually might say, out of 1,000, well, I think it was priced too high. Really? I'll be right over. Okay. And then the last question, fourth question is, how did you arrive at your price? When you put it on the market, how did you arrive at your price? And they, of course, will say, well, the agent told us that. Okay. Or whatever. We looked on Zillow. Mm-hmm. And the final question is, if I could show you that my marketing plan would help you go ahead with your plans, would you even consider getting together and meeting with me for a half hour to 45 minutes? Would you even consider that? And very often, if you've done this correctly, they're going to say yes. So, let's just see how we do. Let's see if we can get that other deal doctor on the phone.
Hello.
Hi, Dom, can we get a level? Are we able to hear Eric here? Say again, Eric.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Okay, so is this Mr. Graham?
Yes, it is.
Mr. Graham, this is Don Phelan, 5 Star Real Estate. Listen, let's call.
Doug?
I'm sorry?
I said, how you doing, Doug?
No, thanks, but it's Don, but that's okay. Trust me, I've been called worse. But anyway, I was just curious. You had a house on the market, 123 Main Street. Are you still looking to sell?
Well, yeah, I would consider it, yes.
Uh-huh. You'd consider it. Is that a yes?
Like I said, my wife and I would consider it. We'd consider talking further about it.
Uh-huh. And what would make you say, give me a firm yes that we want to get together?
Well, I guess I'd have to see what makes you different than the last person that tried to sell her home.
Okay, that's
That
fair.
didn't work out for us.
Perfect. That's fair enough. Now, right now, I'm going to table the conversation by using the words, that's fair enough. I understand. I get it. Hey, Mr. Graham, I'm just curious. When you put your home on the market, what did you hope to accomplish? When you first put it out there for sale, what were you hoping to do?
Well, Dan, we were hoping that it would sell real quick.
Uh-huh. Again, it's Don, but that's okay. Doug, it doesn't matter. You can call me whatever you like. I'll get back at you later. But listen, so you were hoping to do sell your home, of course. Where were you hoping to go?
Well, we've been considering about going to South Carolina, close to the family.
South Carolina, to be near your family, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds pretty cool. And when you were going to do that, how soon did you want to do that?
Well, we'd like to do it within 6 to 12 months, but
Si-
it didn't seem to work out for us, so we're kind of just on a holding pattern here.
Yeah, 6 to 12 months. And how long ago was that you started the 6 to 12 month plan?
Well, let's just say we're behind schedule.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So if you were to make a plan now to be in South Carolina, would you want to do it by, let's say, September, or would you be okay with waiting until it was Christmas time? Which would you prefer?
Sooner the better.
Sooner the better. Okay, well, that's fair enough. Again, fair enough. I'm going to table it for now and move on. I've gotten a lot of information about his motivation already. So, Mr. Graham, when you put your home on the market, any ideas why it didn't sell?
Well, Dave, I think it's just because of the idea that the marketing plan just didn't work out.
Thanks. It's Don, not Dave, but that's fine. You can call me whatever you like. The marketing plan. Did you see a marketing plan, Mr. Graham?
Well, to be honest, the person came in, said they were going to do a lot of things, and I really don't know whether
Yeah.
they did those or not.
Oh, okay. What kind of things did they say they were going to do?
Well, they said they're going to put on some MLS. They were going to do some postcards. They were going to market this home. They're going to bring a bunch of people through the home. And frankly, we just didn't have a lot of showings, or in my opinion, a lot fewer showings than I thought we should have had.
Yeah. How many? But when it was listed over the course of the listing, on average, how many showings per week did you get?
Sometimes we didn't even get any
Oh,
in a week.
yeah. Yeah. It's nice to reaffirm some of their concerns with little interjections like that. So sometimes you didn't even get one showing a week. Is that what I'm?
Correct.
Yeah. Well, okay.
So I guess, when I look at that, I think, well, maybe I'd like a second opinion. I'd like to have someone come in and tell me what's going on.
Uh-huh. I've got a second opinion. Nah, never mind. Anyway, when you put your house on the market, Mr. Graham, how did you establish a price? How'd you figure out your price?
Well, my wife and I looked at this, and frankly, a lot of it we just relied on Zillow.
Yeah, I can understand. Zillow, right? And how'd that work out? Do you feel?
Well, we didn't sell our house, did we?
No, you didn't. So if you were to put your house back on the market, you might reconsider or at least think of another option in terms of a method to price your house. Would you agree with that? Yes or no?
Dean, yes, we definitely agree with that.
Okay,
Anything.
good. That's great to know. Listen, Mr. Graham, if I could show you without a shadow of a doubt that my marketing plan could get you to South Carolina by the middle of September, 1st of October at the latest, would you even consider sitting down and meeting me for a half an hour, 45 minutes?
Yes, I would consider it.
Okay. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Fair enough. Would tomorrow at 7 be good, or would 8 o'clock be better for you and your wife?
Probably like 7:05.
7:05. I see. Okay. Listen, if I've got another appointment before, so if it runs late and I'm not there till 7:30, would that be okay?
Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay, great. Listen, Mr. Graham, I'm going to see you at 7 o'clock. unless by any chance it might run a little late, but I'm going to give you a call and let you know one way or the other. Would that be okay?
That'd be great.
Fair enough.
I look forward to meeting you, Duke, and having a good conversation.
Thanks, Mr. Graham. I'll see you then.
All right. Thank you.
Duke. He had to come up with Duke? Really? Anyway, so I had a little fun there, but seriously, that's how to work expires. Expires nowadays are more difficult to work because it's harder to get the phone numbers of the owners. I get that. But there's still great opportunities, even in this market where most houses are selling. There are still houses that are going unsold because they've been overpriced. Sometimes, as you heard, because the seller relied on Zillow to set their price for them. So, any questions, Dom? No questions. Okay. I hope it was helpful. We ran, wow, it's actually 1:31. So thanks for joining. Thanks for staying. And we'll see you next week.